Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Shireen. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about my best Christmas gift ever. I already talked about my worst Christmas gift ever, so I decided to come back and do my best Christmas gift because you already heard about the worst. I'm sure you want to hear about the best, so let's get into it. So like always, I have to give you guys a full background and rundown of how I came about getting my gift. Okay, so it was back in like 2015. No, it wasn't back in 2015, but 2015 is how it led up to me getting my best gift. So in 2015, I started to work. I was working in retail. I worked at JCPenney. I actually worked there for 4 years, surprisingly. That was a long time. But anyways, I worked there for 4 years and I did not have a car. My parents always had to drive me to and from work, or they would let me borrow their car. So at the time, we only had 2 cars. It was a RAV4, a 2002 RAV4, and then we had a 2006 Honda CR-V. The RAV4, my dad had actually bought from this lady that went to my church. So like, it wasn't like a new car or anything. It had a lot of miles, but it worked fine. Then in, I wanna say in 2018, yes, it was in 2018, I got a second job, and that was working at Papa John's Pizza. So in 2018 is when my parents finally decided that 2 cars just wasn't enough. You had my mom working at the time, my dad was working, I was working, my brother always had his own car, but you have 3 people working and you only have 2 cars, and plus my little brother had to go to school. So that was a lot of driving, and it was kind of hard to manage around it with only 2 cars. So in 2018, they finally decided to get my mom a new car. So my mom got a new car. That makes our lives a whole lot easier. So finally, my dad was just like, you know what? You can drive the RAV4. I have my CR-V, you can drive the RAV4, here's a key or whatever. It wasn't technically like my car, but he just let me drive it all the time. So it kind of became my car, if you get what I'm saying. I was all excited. I was like, oh, I have my own car. I can go to school, drop my sister off. It just made life a whole lot more easy until the car started to have problems. So one day my car started making like this weird sound. I didn't know what it was. I wasn't trying to figure out what it was, but I took it to my dad and he was basically like, your rack and pinion is going bad. A lot of you guys don't know what I'm talking about. You don't know what the heck a rack and pinion is, but I'm about to explain it the best way that I can. So basically, a rack and pinion is what allows your steering wheel to turn easily, if you get what I'm saying. So because mine was going bad, it wasn't that hard to turn just yet, but I had to always put oil in it constantly whenever I would hear that sound. It was making that sound for a long time. I just kept putting oil in it, until like it kept just getting worse. Because think about it, I was a delivery driver. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I was a delivery driver. So you're constantly just making a lot of turns, okay? As a delivery driver, you got a lot of places to go. You're constantly making turns. So my steering wheel started to get harder and harder to turn, no matter how much oil that I would put in it. And I told my dad about it, and he was like, you know what? We might just have to get a whole new rack and pinion. And I was like, okay, cool. At the time, I was still working at JCPenney too. So I was working 2 jobs. I was working at JCPenney and I was working at Papa John's. So I had enough money to get a new rack and pinion, you know? My dad would always order all his parts from this one website called Rock Auto Nation. So I went on there, I ordered the rack and pinion, and then in a couple days it came. The thing about Rock Auto is that I think their parts are refurbished. I don't think they're original new parts, if you get what I'm saying. So when my dad had installed the new rack and pinion for me, it had a hole in it. And I feel like it literally just made my car even worse. I still constantly had to put oil in it. It wasn't easy on me driving wise. Like I had to use a lot of strength to turn that wheel. I was like, every time I knew a turn was coming up, I would literally get sad because I knew how much force I had to put in to making that turn. So I was still working at Papa John's, wearing and tearing on my car, wearing and tearing, putting on more miles, and it just wasn't getting any better. So eventually my dad was like, you know what? I think it's just time for you to get a whole new car. And I was like, I don't make enough money for a new car. Like, yes, I was working at JCPenney and I was working at Papa John's, but a new car was not something, well, I did think about a new car, but I was just, at the time I was like, I don't think I can get a new car right now, if you get what I'm saying. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, I do agree with you, but at the same time, I don't think that I have the funds to get a new car. So my dad had discussed with me and he was like, you can try to trade in this car. You're not gonna get much for it, but you can try to trade in the RAV4 and get you a newer car. But one day we were just like, you know what? We're gonna go to the dealership and see what we can get. Actually, I had been looking at cars for a little while. I was trying to get a Toyota, basically, which is what I ended up getting anyways. So we went to the dealership and my brother also had looked up a couple of cars for me too. So we went to the dealership and we told them the cars that we wanted to look at. And we ended up only looking at like 2 cars. I looked at, I don't know what that car was. It was like one of the newer Toyotas, like the newer models that they made. And it was really nice, but it was just too tiny. It was really tiny. If I find out what the name was, I'll insert it so you guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that car was really nice. It was like new and kind of like high-techy a little bit, just a little bit, but it was just really small. I felt like clustered inside of the car. But then I looked at this 2016 black Toyota Corolla and I loved it. I loved the car. I loved how it drove. I loved everything about it. And so did my dad. The only problem was it smelled like cigarettes. And let me just make this public service announcement. If you smoke cigarettes, I will 100% make you feel bad about it. Every time I pass by somebody who's smoking a cigarette, I'd be like, there they go, trying to kill people again. Stop, if you smoke cigarettes, stop smoking them. You're killing yourself. But you know what? It's not my life to live. Anyways, back to what I was saying. We took it out for a drive. We went like all the way on the highway with it and it was great. The car runs great. It was basically brand new. Whoever had it before took really good care of it. The only problem that I have with them is that they smoked in it. So we took it back to the dealership and we were like, I think this is the one that we're gonna get. I'm really happy that I took my dad actually. He really got them to take my old car, the 2002 RAV4. He got them to take that car for $1,000. And it wasn't nowhere worth $1,000 at all. But that served as my down payment for my new car. I think originally they were trying to give us like $500 for it. So my dad got them to put on $500 more, which is really good. I really was happy that I was able to get that car simply because it was something that I got. Like at first I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to get it. I don't have a down payment, I don't have anything. But thankfully I had that other car to serve as my down payment. So, and then after that, you don't get charged for your car note until like 2 months later. So like I had a whole month to like gather up some more money, make sure that I was good for my car note, which I was getting a lot of tip money and it wasn't really an issue, but I'm just glad that everything fell into place. Everything aligned how it was supposed to align. So yeah, that was my best gift ever, my first car. And what really makes it the best gift ever is the fact that somebody else didn't get it for me. I got this gift all by myself. I'm still paying for it. I take care of it. Anything that's wrong with it, I take care of. Like, it's just my car. And I'm just happy about that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.